Looks like we're streaming.
It looks like we're streaming. Hey guys, and welcome to this live stream of Bits and Tokens. On today's live stream, we'll be talking about a few things. I know Tim has a couple things in us regarding the market, and I have a couple stories in store as well.
This is good. First of all, what is this again?
It's sparkling pink lemonade with champagne. So fancy.
Okay.
Yeah, I did that, I know.
I like that.
So I hope you guys are all doing very well tonight.
I like that.
And if you haven't looked at the market, well, maybe you should look at the market. After a lot of, sad red days and a lot of blood running, looks like we have some triumph.
Yes, indeed. I would tend to agree with you there on the state of the market as of today. It was a great day. Some coins, EOS did like 22% today.
Yeah, I saw.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
even though
those percentages, they were there.
Even though me and EOS we don't really see eye to eye.
I think the top 5 reported was EOS, Tron, some about Bitcoin Cash, I think it was.
Which one?
I'm assuming the one that did well. What else did I see? I saw a few things. There was the top 5 I saw in there, but I remember Tron and EOS and Bitcoin Cash specifically off the top of my head. Yeah, so.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Oh god.
And probably XRP. XRP I'm sure was in there. Sounds about right.
We got like 15% today.
15%'s not bad.
It's not negative 2% that we've been seeing for the past couple days over and over and over again.
So it's a little better,
It's easy to stomach those negatives when it's just like negative 2% here and there. But then when you look back and you're like, okay, I've been stomaching this for a while. Like it's been 2% today, yesterday, the day before. That's 6%.
Yes. Well, here's the thing, guys. You got to keep in mind, market's been down, and it looks like the tables have turned, to be honest, based off what we've been looking at, because we've heard the stock market hasn't been doing so well. And then, today, cryptocurrency was just like, hey, we're pretty cool. And I was just like, you are pretty cool. So, just the two of them, they basically swap places. Like if you look at the charts all across, which Tim's gonna pull up in just a second so you guys can see.
I sure am. This is gonna be my favorite part probably of the whole live stream.
I remember when the charts were also red, there was like maybe like a speck of green that the screen was bleeding. Now I feel like that's the stock market right now.
Oh man,
it's like
that. Yeah, what you're talking about is from Coin360, one of the sites I'll pull up here in a second. Really funny that they do that. Like that's hilarious. Whenever you go on coin360.io or no, coin360.com, I think it is. I'll show you guys in a minute. Whenever there's like everything is red in cryptocurrency, it like bleeds from the top. It's like, I don't know. Wait, maybe that was just like a Halloween thing.
Who knows? But that was pretty.
No, because that was in November that it started doing that. So then no, it couldn't have been
funny.
A Halloween thing. Either way, though, really funny stuff. So without further ado, we certainly can get into that. Let's first of all pull up the abysmal performance today of the S&P 500. That is the Standard & Poor's index. You can't see the ones that are behind us, but it's those are industrial goods, and some healthcare is behind me, and then consumer goods is behind you.
They're red, in case you're wondering.
Interestingly, Apple is part of the consumer goods. That's the one just to your left.
Look at that.
Anyways,
we got a couple, in there that don't look too bad. I see those little gray boxes, a green here and there, not too bad, but for the most part, pretty red.
Right.
Pretty red.
Right.
So,
some names I'm seeing here: Berkshire Hathaway is down 1% on their B shares.
Amazon almost 5%.
Yeah, some of the like FANG, the Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google.
Yeah.
If I didn't mess that up, not really doing too hot. Tech is getting hammered.
I see that. Yeah, no, I see that. Tech and services, it looks like, because Walmart, Target, Costco, everything's down over there. So, doesn't look too good for you guys.
Really not looking hot on the old stock market or Rooney. But switching pace here a little bit, looking at the same, and this is called a heat map, by the way. So if you're trying to find something similar to this or this kind of map somewhere, you can search for like stock heat map or S&P 500 heat map. You can also do the same for cryptocurrency, except you'll notice that we're not doing it too bad today.
Yeah, we're
it's
doing
looking
good.
very nice.
We're doing pretty good, guys. You know, a little red here and there, not nothing crazy, but you know,
The red is manageable though,
pretty
and it's not
solid.
even. So this is funny. It's true USD, and it's down 0.25%, but it's down to $1.02 when it's only supposed to be worth $1.
$1, right?
So that's not that bad.
That's not that bad.
Oh my God, HSR. I don't know what this thing is, but that it's behind my head. You can't really see it
What
probably,
does it say,
but
mining?
mixed.
Mixed algorithm? Is that what that?
Yeah.
Maybe?
So it's saying the algorithm is a mixed algorithm. I don't know exactly what HSR does or H share. It's called H share. We'll probably look them up here in a minute, but they got clobbered today, 30%. Something had to have happened.
Ooh.
Bad news. Something crazy came out.
HSR. All right, I'm gonna look that while you talk about that chart right there.
Okay. But some of the other things though, really not hurting at all. Just down
BCASH.
a little bit, if anything. Let's see here. 5.9%. That's probably one of our bigger losers for the day. 18.98%, another big loser. So Theta token down as well. But overall, if you would have had a diverse portfolio like I sort of try to pretend to have sometimes, you would basically be seeing a bunch of green for the day. And looks like EOS kept climbing after, EOS kept climbing after that 22% that I saw it at earlier. So that's it's pretty cool too. Ah, man. So in the spirit of
That's Hypercash, Hcash.
drunk crypto here, gonna go ahead and this is not an advertisement. We are not sponsored by any alcohol companies yet. We would love to be. This is actually my favorite beer. I don't know if I ever shared that information with you.
Oh no, you didn't. I didn't know that.
It's from Hawaii.
Hawaii. Okay.
It's from the Kona Brewing Co. And one of my friends in Hawaii is actually, once he visits Kona again, is going to visit their bar and try to swipe me a nice Kona Brewing Co. glass. So yeah, this one's called Big Wave. Honestly, it's like literally the best. It's like the hints of pineapple and just all sorts of tropical goodness right in a beer. So
Interesting.
very.
I don't necessarily see anything bad about this Hcash.
No, H share.
Share.
Yeah. Look for H share. I believe that's what it's called. While you do that, let's travel back to the bar here, shall we? Anything?
Share. Not really.
Let me see.
Not seeing too.
Okay.
Nothing too hot here.
Where the heck did I find that? Oyster Pearl
It's just a bad day. For
down
them.
again.
Oyster Pearl.
The ones that had that crazy exit scam?
Yeah, I thought they're around.
Right? Shouldn't they just like keel over already? Yeah, I don't know. Some people still. A lot of times, what happens in crypto is like people don't learn their lesson that like, okay, this is not safe, and like they still, like they'll see the prices go down and be like, oh, now I'll buy in. Like, no, find out why the prices went down first before you buy in. You crazies.
Especially that jump. That was a crash. I don't know if anybody would.
Well,
Wanna...
it had been going up for a really long time, and then just kind of out of nowhere, it took a little tumble.
A little tumble. It was like almost negative a cent. I don't know how you have negative a cent.
It really went down. HSR token. Let's see. Oh wait, so they do go as H? No, Hcash is. What is happening here?
I told you it was Hcash.
But why does it say when I look at the map, it says HSR is called H share?
I don't know. Maybe they're just calling it as shares. But so I have a theory. A couple theories here.
Uh-huh.
So I see the market. Had done that beautiful. I don't want to say a bull run, but a little skip. Skipped a little bit.
Okay.
So besides all the FUD that's been spreading around, there's been a couple articles and artifacts that I've been seeing regarding cryptocurrency. And I don't know if you know who that guy in office is that just got put there by our beloved President Trump, our chief of staff.
I hope you're watching now. You're all right in my book.
So our chief of staff, have you guys heard of him? I hope you heard of him. He basically said Bitcoin is good. And personally, because I see someone who of high authority has now said, hey, Bitcoin is good, just like our crypto mom over at the SEC. She also, endorses our cryptocurrency wave. But I feel because he had made that statement, possibly that probably triggered some investors to invest.
Or, and hear me out on this one, I have a much more intricate theory that took way too long to figure out. And involves behind the scenes stuff.
Behind the scenes, okay.
Let's pull it up now, actually, for the lovely folks watching. This is super advanced, what I'm going to pull up here. So I am looking at a website which shows you Bitcoin's market depth. And we all know that for right now, Bitcoin is kind of the one that moves them all, right? The one coin to rule them all. And so the historical MDR, or the historical market depth ratio, is a very useful tool when navigating the crypto world, when you want to know when might be a good time to buy in and when might not be such a great time to buy in. I've been using it to kind of see if I can gauge when the price is going to spike. And I also saw a lovely article written about it that I can't find anymore. But the general consensus between a rogue group of traders is that when the historical market depth ratio, when you're looking at a year-to-date chart, is more than 25%, we should be seeing an increase in the price.
Okay.
Now, why is that? What is this stuff? What are we looking at?
What are we looking at?
Right. So, when you're trading like we use Binance a lot, and then like right above the order book, there's the red and green, like these bars over here, the red and green stuff.
Okay.
So obviously the red side is like the sell side, and the green side is the buy side.
Right.
So what that is basically how many orders exist on the sell side versus how many orders exist on the buy side. Now I have another question for you. Have you ever tried to buy a coin or a token and then your buy order didn't hit because the price went up, and then you canceled it and then put another buy order and that one didn't hit, so you canceled it again and we're just like, whatever, market order? Has that ever happened?
It has, actually.
Well, you wouldn't be alone, because that's happened to me as well as a bunch of other retail traders, and even in some instances, institutional traders. So with that being said, if you can look back on a historical level and see the unfulfilled buy orders, that's more of a useful sentiment analysis. I like my sentiment analysis. I like to analyze the people. That's more of a reliable, in my opinion, sentiment analysis that you can use with other stuff like MACD and all the other indicators we use to really see what the market might actually want to do. Because the unfulfilled buy orders is more of an indicator, because somebody wanted to buy but they weren't able to. So chances are when the price goes up, they'll FOMO themselves back in with either a higher limit buy or a market buy.
Okay, I can see that.
So, typically on this chart here, when we get over the 25% mark is when it's going to be, a good time to look into buying. And we can see here that on the 14th, we were at 31%. On the 16th, we were at 30%. With today being the 17th, we saw some pretty good gains. Obviously, you would want to look at this in conjunction with looking at another chart, but that is my theory. Because as much as news moves things and doesn't move things, I've seen like amazing news do nothing for crypto. So
that is true. Maybe, perhaps that would be a valid theory. That'd be a valid theory.
I like your theory as well.
I would say
it makes a lot of sense.
So yes. I feel like possibly both of them, because there was a lot of movement today. So for both of them make sense. It could be more than one thing. Like you said, you've seen news in the past and it hasn't done anything.
Oh yeah, always use multiple indicators.
There's multiple factors that are taking into effect.
Mm-hmm.
There's multiple groups of people that are now saying, okay, well, let's jump in there. So,
Right.
Gotta get around to all the crowd.
Or if we were to combine both of those, it could be something like the people who might have been skeptical, now that kind of the White House, if you will, is on board with Bitcoin, crypto, etc., started looking at it, saw the prices going up, and said, hey, I want some of that, and then also got in. Maybe that could be a thing.
Possibly. Well, I'm sure when people see stuff going up, they're going to jump in.
Right.
So that's always going to happen. So,
right.
Like I said, multiple indicators there between, White House stuff and people from other country, they kind of look at the U.S. So kind of just based off, the few things that could have triggered this, uproar. We could have got there. So I'm very I'm very satisfied with our gains today.
I was wondering where you were going with that one.
I don't know if I was stuck between happy and sad. I was had. So, I'm very satisfied with our gains today. It looks like things are turning around. Now, have you heard of that developer? And I don't remember his name, and I read this story too, that had said that Bitcoin Cash, not the new fork that just came out, the one before, is going to go to zero. So BCH, the original Bitcoin Cash, the one that was going to be BCH ABC, and I literally threw the towel in. That one? Yes.
It's going to go to zero.
It's going to go to zero.
And who said that?
Oh, man, I have to look for him, but I'm going to look up the story, but he had said that BCH was going to go to zero because a new, I guess, Bitcoin Cash was going to take over. So what do you think about that? Because I know cryptocurrency in general, I know you think is not ever going to go because it's nearly impossible. But I mean, well, maybe not because, you got your Pearl over there. But,
well, it didn't go to zero. It went to like almost as close to zero as you can get. Not all the way zero. Because like you can't really trade something for no money.
Right.
So like whoever has it at zero is kind of stuck with it. But as far as going to zero, I don't know. My thing about anything that isn't Bitcoin that wants to be used for people to make payments to other people or to businesses is that they're skipping a few steps. At some point, I will probably find the video that explains it much more elegantly than I ever will be able to. But there's a video that I watched about Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash, doing a fantastic job showing why Bitcoin Cash is skipping a few steps. And so like if we use gold as the example, at first something has to be a collectible, I believe is the first step. Then it would need to become a store of value, and then it would need to become a method of payment. But when Bitcoin Cash came out, they went immediately for the jugular and tried to become a form of payment without first being a store of value and prior to that being a collectible. So Bitcoin first came out and it was a collectible because it was just a bunch of people in the cypherpunk movement that wanted to have a thing that was beautiful, that worked in the way that they wanted it to work. And so thus Bitcoin was born. So I found the article. Oh, cool.
It was Calvin, and I want to say his last name is Ayre. It's Ayre. I want to say the Y is silent.
Hey, you're
right. So he is actually an entrepreneur from Canada.
Is he?
Yes. He has a $1 billion gambling company. And he essentially said that Bitcoin Cash is going to go to zero and it's going to be worthless in 2019. Now, he said that the Bitcoin Cash Satoshi version, BSV, is going to save the day instead.
Interesting.
Right. So his prediction is kind of based off the utility aspect of the cryptocurrency. So I'm assuming he feels like because Bitcoin Cash Satoshi version has a more utility asset than the Bitcoin Cash that is currently now, it's going to replace, I guess, swap places because of the intrinsic value of the coin. So now, BCH, it doesn't have a utility like value because it's not technically a utility. It has a kind of like a monetary value because it's meant to be used monetarily in a store and things like that. So yes, he's right. It does not have a utility value, but that does not mean that the cryptocurrency will be worth zero. Because if you're going to use, the purpose of Bitcoin Cash was for you to use it in stores. So I don't see why you would have a utility like value at, for example, like a water plant for a coin that you're going to use at a store like you use your cash. It needs to have a monetary value. The US dollar has a monetary value, not a utility value. So I mean,
US dollar. Does it have a monetary value?
Well,
we'll get there later. I have a fun exercise we're gonna do later.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I guess you could, depending if you do trade your Forex or whatever it is that you do with the US dollar and other currencies. I guess it kind of varies, but for the most part, it is a currency. It's fiat, so technically, it's supposed to have a monetary value for the most part. He also says that it doesn't really do anything and it's anti-scaling. So
that Bitcoin Cash is anti-scaling?
Yes.
But that's why 32 megabyte block size and then 128 megabyte block size. I'm confused.
You're right.
I am confused.
I'm not seeing substantial facts. It's a little choppy here because he's slamming and hating on the original Bitcoin Cash and saying that the Satoshi version is going to be much better, but because of its value. But some of the facts that he's pulling out here, like we had mentioned earlier with the anti-scaling, doesn't really add up. It just doesn't. Those are just not real facts. So, will it actually hit zero? No, it will not hit 000. Worthless, probably not. That would literally mean that all the volume that Bitcoin Cash currently has went over to the Satoshi version of Bitcoin Cash. Like they just donated all their volume over. So
donated. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose.
So I don't think so. I'm not agreeing with Mr. Calvin.
From an emotional standpoint, even though like I don't usually make decisions emotionally, but I'll own that this is a fully emotional like discourse I'm having in my head right now. I don't like Craig Wright, the inventor of Satoshi Vision. Don't like him.
Okay.
Don't like him. If you feel like your project is the one that people should be using and you're going to fork from another project because they're not doing it right, it's fine to talk about how they're not doing this and this right, and so I want to do it this way. And anyone who's on board with me, come on over, right? That's fine. But for you to literally attack the original Bitcoin Cash, you know what I mean? Like threaten to cripple networks and 51% attack, like that's shisty and shady. And the only reason why you can get away with that, Mr. Wright, is because crypto is not regulated yet. And maybe that is going to be the case for me to feel like maybe crypto should be regulated, but that's crazy. Like I don't like that type of stuff. So on an emotional level, I just don't. On a logical level, whatever. It's good. I read a report or an article or whatever today that like in 5 years, crypto is going to be like super mainstream where you could just accept payments and
Hopefully.
whatnot. So
I'm
we'll
hoping
see.
for it.
We'll see.
Yeah, I saw that where it will be 5 years to fully adopt cryptocurrency. I saw that article as well. And you know, it sounds about right, because here's the thing: when people go, cryptocurrency is gonna hit, cryptocurrency is gonna have a massive bull run, and Bitcoin is gonna be worth $250,000 by the end of, or by the end of 2018. When I kept hearing those things, I was just like,
Gosh, I hope McAfee doesn't end up having to eat the thing that he said that he would eat if Bitcoin didn't get to, what was it, $1 million?
I don't know why they like. So here's the thing: it has the potential.
It really does.
But like Vitalik has said, where no one's expecting for cryptocurrency to have a 600, time spike. Like, it's just not. It's something that happens typically initially. It happened because there were people who were jumping on it. When that happened, when Bitcoin hit almost 20,000, it's because at that point in time there was so many people jumping in. So many people were just finding out about cryptocurrency out of nowhere. This thing is going up, and like, if you just have someone jump in over and over and over again, yeah, it's gonna spike, because all those people who are jumping in are buying in at market value, which is causing the price to go up. Now you have a bunch of people who are already, I guess you say, into cryptocurrency, kind of just doing your regular day trades. There's not a lot of people jumping in. So if you don't have that, it's not going to hit that, super duper skyrocketing number, unless literally triple the amount of people who jumped in last time jump in this time, which, can happen, but it's something that's taking time for people to adopt. So naturally, I didn't think that was something that was realistic. I thought it was going to take time. Mm-hmm. So like I said, it has potential, but it's something that's not expected to happen. And many developers have come out about that. Like, listen, guys, like, don't expect, these huge, massive spikes. Some developers say, no, it's going to do it. I'm watching it. I don't expect it to. If it does, great. If it doesn't, I'll hold on.
So I'm going to make 2 points here.
Sure.
My first point, you're a pretty social person. So you have friends and stuff.
Right.
Okay. That makes one of us.
You're my friend.
So,
we're touching hands.
So, wow. I didn't even hear you. You guys probably heard. I didn't hear that. Anyways, so how many of your friends are like actually into crypto, that like have some Bitcoin?
Ooh, maybe like 2 or 3, honestly.
Out of like, you're a pretty social person. Like,
I know a lot of people.
Right. So imagine that whole other group in the next 5 years who's getting into crypto.
Gonna get into it. Right. We're not there yet.
But with that being said, I just tried to do the math on Bitcoin being worth $1 million. And apparently Google doesn't know what that number is. Either that, or like, I don't know what this number is. Because I don't know what I'm looking at right now.
The E, that's an exponent. It's to the 2.1.
I wanted to see a number. I don't know what I'm looking at.
It's too many zeros to show you. That's the thing.
What do you mean? A Google, the term Google means like 100 zeros or something like that. Like a number with 100 zeros or something like that. That's where like literally the term Google came from. How can they not show me at least 100 zeros? Anyways, so I tried to do the math for us to see what Bitcoin is making.
So 2.1 e to the 13th power. So that's 21 and then 13 zeros after that.
Is it?
I believe so.
I'm gonna believe you.
Something
21.
like that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 14. Okay. Nope. $210 quadrillion?
Probably. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's to the 13th power, if I'm not mistaken. Statistic came in handy.
Hey, man, I'm cool with $210 quadrillion. That's fine by me.
That's a lot. That's a lot of money circulating.
Well, it is and it isn't, because the flip side of that is that as cryptocurrencies take over and huge global organizations like the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, start replacing the US dollar with better things.
Okay, yes, you're correct.
The value will drop, which we're going to speak about value in currencies dropping in a second, because there's a fiat example that I have to use that I made a point on Facebook today, and I want to share it with the world. But yeah, as the value of the US dollar drops, yeah, it's totally possible for $210 quadrillion, whatever that ends up meaning in the future. But yeah, that was kind of my 2 cents about that. Money joke.
So explain to me this value of fiat that you speak of.
Okay, so I do way too much research about stuff when I want to know about it, and it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, you like to rabbit hole.
And I'm really sorry about that. But the rabbit hole goes so deep, you don't understand. So listen, we talked about China. I did. We talked about Venezuela.
Okay.
And how their currency is literally not worth the paper that it's printed on.
Oh no.
It's really and then we talked about how.
Afford that?
So the story I read today was about apparently they're forcing the pension fund, people who have a pension fund, to accept the petro as their payment. Because the money's not worth any. Well, neither is the petro, honestly, really.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. Honestly, like I said, he should have actually made them pay with the petro. But that's nor here nor there. Continue.
So, I did some math today, and math is not my favorite thing in the world. But
did you double check?
But I did it anyway. I didn't double check. Google double checked for me, and the numbers were small enough that I didn't have to read Sanskrit or whatever this is. Anyway,
they're exponents.
Anyways, so I did a fun exercise today, and I looked up how much it would cost to replace basically the full set of Monopoly money. And so for the full 15,000 in Monopoly money, it would be $8. Now, that's $8 US. Now, if you take that same $8 US, you'll get, I think the math was, I'll do it again live here in a second, but you'll get 1.9 million Bolivar. Which means that it would be 139 Bolivar for one of these little white single notes.
Oh my God.
Literally, Monopoly money is 140 times more valuable than Venezuela's currency right now.
That's crazy.
That hyper crazy mega inflation is real deal. It is real
deal. It's like what, 95%? That's a lot.
It's crazy. And so I know a lot of folks are going to be like, do the math. So I got you. Don't worry about it. So the first thing that we have to do here is figure out the USD to VEF. I believe that's what their currency is called. Yes, the Venezuelan Bolivar. So if I use this website
do you see the 10, 20, whatever? It literally equaled 0. I need you guys to see that. Can you show them that?
We'll go back. Let me zoom in here.
Can you guys see that? Do you see that?
And it's not even just 0 cents. It's 0
000. You're not getting anything.
It's bad. It's really bad.
That's horrible.
So let's do the math, right? Let's do the math. So $8 is 1.9 million.
Jeez.
1.9 million, which if I do, let me grab another tab here. 1900 900 I think I did that right.
000.
So when I round it down to just 1.9 million, it's still $130 for one Monopoly dollar. Literally, the Parker brothers, the people who bought Monopoly way back when and produce it to this day, are able to print money for a game that is worth more money than the Bolivar. Crypto will save the day.
I don't know what you're doing, Mr. Nicolas Maduro, but man, Come on. I need you to use that petro properly.
Honestly,
I need you to use that petro properly.
It would make so much sense for them to force the people that are buying the oil that they're literally sitting on, the black gold they're literally sitting on. Okay, you can buy it, but you have to convert your money into petrol. Like it doesn't make any sense.
That's what I thought originally. What he was gonna do with it, especially since he said that he was gonna detach himself from the U.S. because of the sanctions. And then apparently they started doing the euro, but I don't know why you're not making them pay in Bolivar. Like, because here's the thing: if they want to buy your oil, regardless, they have to pay you some way, shape, or form, or they have to go somewhere else. They would have to go somewhere else. It's either you get it from here or you get it from somewhere else. So, I mean, if they were to purchase the Bolivar and it was to, you know, start flowing, start making transactions, naturally, for your people, the value will go up. Mm-hmm. And that's just what makes sense. And it's you know, we talk about, oh, well, this has this utility and this has this, and people love to make tokens and make coins, but nobody uses them properly. Right. Very, very few companies are utilizing their coin properly. XRP is using their coin properly. They're using it what they made it for. Mm-hmm. There's so many companies I see out there. They made something like, hey, look at this cool thing we got. And then like 2 years go by and I'm like, what are you guys doing? People are just trading your coin on exchanges. That's it. Like, what you made your coin actually for is not being utilized. Why? Why did you make it?
Because they wanted the quick money.
Like, that drives me crazy. There's nothing that drives me crazier than somebody having a vision and then not fulfilling their dreams. You just get halfway. Like, no. All the way in. Get all the way in. Come on.
So,
got a little thirsty there.
I don't know what kind of sorcery you put in this, but this is pretty good. This is pretty good.
I think everything I make is pretty good.
Champagne. That's true. I'll give you that one. I wasn't sure how the sparkling pink lemonade with the obviously sparkling wine is what champagne is when it comes from champagne.
So,
I wasn't sure how that was going to work out, but it worked out well.
Yeah, it worked out well.
Speaking of this beer here that no one was talking about, do you want that, or like how's that looking?
Wow, I have to finish my 1 cup, but we'll get there.
Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna go ahead and just. There's another one in the fridge. Don't worry about it.
I'm sure there's one in the fridge. But anyways,
there's one more for you.
So, have you heard of the nonprofits?
Here's the thing. I'm going to want you to be a little bit more specific than that.
Have you heard of the cryptocurrency nonprofits?
Going to need you to be just a bit more specific than that.
So, I was reading an article today. Let me see if I can pull it up here. About a couple cryptocurrency nonprofits, 4 to be exact. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can pull it out here. I know one of them was like BitGive, and then another one.
I'm gonna look that up. That sounds cool. That sounds like a cool name.
BitGive.
Anything with
so
Bit
one
in
of
the
them
name
was
is fire.
here. So I see. So here's BitGive. Basically, it's a Bitcoin nonprofit, which I've been hearing a lot about the nonprofits. If you remember the one I did on the that child organization, it's like the UFIC. It has that really long name. I have to Google it. They did it in I think it was Australia.
Yes,
France.
I remember.
Are you being sarcastic?
No. What, me?
Okay, sarcastic? It's the UNICEF. That organization, they accepted cryptocurrency. I think it was in France, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. They were one of the first nonprofit organizations to accept cryptocurrency as
the UNICEF?
Yes, UNICEF. Yes, them. They were one of the first organizations to accept cryptocurrency as a form of payment. And I believe it was France specifically. I guess it goes, by country or whatever it is. But they were one of the first nonprofit organizations to accept this. So I found it really interesting that there has been more nonprofit organizations that have been kind of, I guess you could say they're not necessarily organizations that collect from themselves, but some of them help other organizations collect money in cryptocurrency for their charity.
Aha, kind of like why is my brain not working right now? Gosh, drunk crypto, what are you doing to me? What's the where you can get money from people on the internet? What's the one that I'm thinking of? You know, where you like where you say like I want to do a thing, and then people are like I will pay you. GoFundMe.
GoFundMe, yeah.
Gosh,
so it's, I guess you could say it's like a GoFundMe, yeah. So BigGive is one of them. They got founded back in 2013, and it's registered as a 501c nonprofit in the U.S. that leverages blockchain technology to improve the charity world in a couple of key areas, such as transparency and efficiency, in terms of collecting funds. So you hear a lot of nonprofits, sometimes they may be a little less than a nonprofit than you think. For example, you have private nonprofits. That's a thing. A lot of people don't know that, where some of the money that you donate goes to paying the workers and things like that, which is, it's sometimes necessary, but sometimes the money can end up misallocated. And the amount that the people up at the top are getting shouldn't be getting that amount.
Is it too much?
A little too much. It's hard to run an organization, yes, but also if you're defining yourself as a charity, you shouldn't be getting paid 6 figures a year. That's a little bit much, but anyways.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that as being a fair thing, because you don't really need to be like a super rich guy if like your thing is supposed to be for charity.
Right.
But the flip side to that is that rich people, the ones that tend to give a lot of money, right, because they have it, like to associate with other rich people. So maybe, just playing devil's advocate here, maybe the drunk crypto.
I know what you mean. Maybe those people could get their friends to donate,
right?
And have,
there we go.
Whole galas or whatever it is.
Shout out to my co-host.
So let me just, yes, that is true. That is true. Usually these organizations kind of have like so what I've noticed, because I have a couple friends who pretty up there in life, and they attend a lot of charity events and things like that. They're kind of like
I accept donations.
Custom. They're kind of like custom. A lot of the charity events, they'll do like art donations and this, that, and the third. And it's good. You do attract a certain crowd of people, and you get them to come out and support and things like that. So I mean, you're right. However, I feel like that's questionable. That's a gray area. It's a little shady.
What if, and I'm just, I love playing devil's advocate. What if the CEO can prove that by being, I like the idea. I like the idea that this tracks everything, because it looks like they have a trademarked product called Give Track, where it gives transparency and accountability. I like that, right? But what if I'm the CEO and I can prove that by me being a swanky rich dude, I'm actually getting more money in than if I wasn't a swanky rich dude?
I mean, if you can prove that and you can get it up there, then sure.
Okay.
Why not? That's a valid point. So one of the other nonprofits I saw on here was Zcash, the Zcash Foundation. So that's another one. And Zcash is also a 501c3 nonprofit that is dedicated to the cause of developing payment and privacy infrastructure for the internet and serving its users of the Zcash privacy cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't that one of them privacy coins?
Yes, it is a privacy coin. So they focus on, I guess, mostly the development of the privacy infrastructure. I didn't know they were a nonprofit. I've heard of Zcash, actually.
Yeah.
So
they're popular.
I didn't know they were a nonprofit.
I think oh gosh, if I'm wrong, I'm gonna be really embarrassed. I'm pretty sure that's ZEC. ZEC. That's their ticker symbol.
Possibly.
If I'm wrong, oh god, you know I hate being wrong on the internet.
Foundation. So I'm assuming that Zcash Foundation is foundation. Zcash Foundation is something that they kind of started up on the side. I've seen a lot of crypto startups. They'll have their they'll have their coin, they'll have this, and then they also have a foundation.
Well, having a 501c is a way to get money. I'll tell you what.
So I think that's something that's in addition to what they already do. Mm-hmm. I'm almost positive. And is ZEC. You're correct.
Wipes brow.
So yeah. So I'm not surprised that they kind of started something on the side. That's not the first company I see that does that. Swarm. Ooh, look at Swarm. Swarm's on here. So Swarm is, let's see here. Considerable efforts have gone into its organization design, and actually foundation. I heard of the Swarm Foundation. I remember this.
Mm-hmm. Didn't you do a whole video on Swarm?
Yeah. I remember they had their foundation side. It looks like they're doing a little more with that, which is good. So yeah, they have their membership, their contracts, financing. They do their space because they have the Swarms Foundation, Swarms Operations, Swarms IP. They have a research foundation as well. So they have a lot of foundations that they have started up. They're doing a little bit of a lot. Let me take a look here. Let me take a look at what Swarm's been doing with their foundation exactly. It looks like they've been focusing mostly on creating a token governance system overall.
Looks like we're getting some eyes here from our set manager. Apparently, it's time for us to go to a very, very short commercial break. And when I say commercial break...
We'll be right back.
When I say commercial break, you'll see. So we apparently will be right back in about 30, 45 seconds, if that's cool with you guys. And cutting to break now.
So Bartholomew, have you heard about that new digital currency?
The electronic check?
No, it's called blockchain, I think.
2 chain?
Blockchain.
Huh?
Are we back? looks like we.
I think we're done.
Oh,
Are we?
wait, Gaston, if you could come back, please, and adjust the audio volume. I think I'm set to like level 37.
Yeah, sorry guys, it's a little loud. Our bad. It's like
I'm pretty sure we're screaming at people. Gaston, hello. Can you please?
sorry, we gotta get our audio.
Can you set the volumes to 4, please?
Our volume's at 4. I don't know. It's going in the red, so I feel like it's just
I don't
really
think.
loud.
Are you sure they're at 4?
Static. There's static. There's static. Can you check everything?
So let's go ahead and turn off our audio.
Just give us one moment, guys. We'll get. Is that better, guys? Are we good now?
Which one is this one?
We should be okay.
Hopefully.
We're gonna get our tech guy here, check us out, give us the okay, so we can get going.
Anyways.
All right, looks like we're all set. Okay,
So let's do a quick recap of everything, if you don't mind, because I did promise one of our viewers here that I would go back over the MDR, market depth,
okay.
or any other cryptocurrency for that matter. So the price doesn't change. It's the price that people are willing to pay for it changes. So market depth is basically the sell orders versus the buy orders. And so when I'm looking at this chart right here, I got here by Googling Bitcoin historical MDR, this thing that you see right here. I switched it over to a year-to-date chart. And what I'm looking at is a chart that essentially, if we are over 25%, from my calculations, and you can correlate this with a chart, yourself by looking at it. Oh, you know what? Let me obviously switch here. Drunk Crypto. Sorry about that. So here we're looking at the MDR. You don't specifically have to be on this website, though. This is the most clean one that I found. No ads, anything like that going on. So you start off with the market depth, and if you've traded on any exchange and used the advanced version, you've seen the market depth chart. This is the sell orders. This is the buy orders. You can call this buy pressure, sell pressure, what have you. Any which ways. On the bottom, the historical MDR is really what's going to tell you what the market might do next, because it incorporates the unfulfilled buy orders. And so what I was explaining to you in the beginning is that we've all had those FOMO moments where we try to buy something, it doesn't go through, and then the price goes up, and then you have to try to buy again, and then the price goes up again, and then you're just like, whatever, my hands are up, market buy. And those market buys are what pushes the price up. So if we can check and see the unfulfilled buy orders, we might have a better, I guess, gauge of what the actual market is doing or what it's going to do. And we can see here that the example I used was that on the 16th, we had an MDR, excuse me, we had an MDR of 30.77%, which is above 25%. And then today was a very green day. Very green day. So there's that part. The other thing we mentioned was just kind of this chart here compared to this chart here. It's so sad. Let me refresh it just to see if there is any updated info. Nope, still looks all the same.
No, the market's closed. Why would be okay?
Everything is red. So what we're looking at here is a very red day when it comes to the stock market, specifically the S&P 500 or the Standard & Poor's Top 500 Index. I believe it's by market cap. This is set by the various industries, which is very interesting to me that Apple is considered a consumer good and not a technology company, but it's also not surprising since they don't really invent any technology. Shots fired. Pow, 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 pow. Android. So honestly, it really does look like the the money bled from
It
the
does, it
stock
does.
market right on over to
It like switched over. It did this thing where
Crypto.
it swapped. It was just like, all right, well, the stock market's green, and then crypto is dying and bleeding, and then today crypto's wonderful, and the stock market is ooh, not doing very well.
really not doing great.
Not well at all.
Gosh, EOS is just, man, if ever there was a day that I wanted to be in EOS, it was today.
It was today.
And I don't ever say that because I'm not a big EOS guy.
If it makes you feel any better, EOS and XRP are the same shade of green. They both hit that shade of green threshold.
It makes me I'm glad you said that. It makes me feel a little better.
Yeah.
Not too much. Because I still have some EOS somewhere that I haven't been able to access for a while.
Yeah, it's it's lost in the sauce.
It was like $10 last time I was able to gain access to it. So,
Oh no.
and before that, it was like 26 or some stupid number, some crazy stupid number. I literally doubled my money on EOS, and I was like, no, it's gonna keep going. Everything's fine. EOS is great. No, they're terrible. They get hacked all the time over it. The way that the Bitcoin network operated at that time. He tried to send a transaction for 183 million Bitcoin, if I'm not 184 maybe. You can probably Google that and tell me that I'm either right or wrong. It's one of those numbers. Anyways, he tried to send a transaction for that much. It went through, and then the network realized no, bad, and reverted everything. So since then, never been hacked. In fact, here's a cool thing. Here's a cool thing. Visa, I used to work for a acquiring bank, and so I'm very familiar with credit card processing and things like that. Visa has gone down so many times. Bitcoin uptime. Is this the one I'm looking for? Okay, this is the one I'm looking for. Let's show the people this. So here is Bitcoin's uptime since its inception on January 3rd, 2009. And that's including every single node on the Bitcoin network. And as we can see here, the uptime is only increasing. It's a small fraction, but there was a very, very, very tiny, minuscule time frame where the Bitcoin network was quote unquote down for a minute. I don't know, something negligible. And so the Bitcoin network has been functional for 99.98% of the time since its inception.
Wow, it's like that's basically hand sanitizer.
Right. Right. But like Visa network down. Watch. Oh, down detector. I remember using this website all the time. Let's see here. All these little bumps are reports of the Visa network going down within the last 24 hours.
Ooh.
So it works most of the time, but not 99.98% of the time. I can promise you that.
Man.
And then here's like another little heat map of like where it's down and like,
Oh wow,
and that's just Visa.
Basically like non-existent in the UK up there at some point in time today. That's a big blotch.
And then people can come over here and then, so someone said 3 months ago in Seattle, Tacoma area in the USA, Visa has been down from 1 p.m. through whenever they posted that comment. So this is a website that you can go to for like a bunch of different things. You can check when EBT is down, Visa, like cell phone service, a whole bunch of stuff. So it's not my website. I didn't invent it, but it just shows a heat map of when there's outages in various different networks.
That's downdetector.com.
So I'm so curious if I know for a fact it doesn't have Bitcoin, but I'm just going to check anyway, just to be that guy. No, but it does have, wow, that's interesting. It does have other.
KuCoin. Look, KuCoin's a flat line. That means they don't do any updates on their system.
That means that KuCoin's stupid and I hate them.
Bitstamp, Bitfi.
Listen, if you use KuCoin, unfollow me on all of social media.
Bitfinex also doesn't have any downtime.
Mm-hmm.
Bittrex, really?
Binance has downtime, but they announce it. They tell you when it's going to happen.
Right. Well, most of it today, it was down today. Was it really?
3 reports. I mean, some of these you can kind of disregard. Some of them you can't. I mean, it really just depends.
Huh.
So someone had so most reported problems. The website being down. So some 50% of the people couldn't access it. 25% couldn't log in. 25% couldn't make transfers in.
Huh.
No one's commenting on it though. So all the most recent comments are from 10 months ago.
10 months ago, yeah.
So, but that's an exchange which runs on basically one or a few servers, not really.
Right.
Bitcoin is there's nodes all over. Do you remember when we were running a Bitcoin node for a little while?
Yeah.
When I was like experimenting with that.
Yeah, on the laptop.
so like, since there's so much participation in the Bitcoin network, the uptime has been significant.
Right.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of our stories that we kind of had for right now. Unless I feel like there was one other that we talked about.
I mean, most of it was
Before our commercial break, you were mentioning something.
Oh, the nonprofits. Yes.
Right.
So speaking about the nonprofits, I had mentioned too. There was another one that I had yet to mention, which was called Commit Good. And Commit Good is actually an award-based charity marketplace, a fundraising platform, and a philanthropic ecosystem on the Ethereum blockchain. So I feel like this more relates a little bit to GoFundMe, because they do have a fundraising platform. They'll like collab with different nonprofits. This is kind of like the one that this is kind of like what I was describing earlier, because they have organizations like Habitat for Humanity, the Ronald McDonald House, Feed the Children, and many, many, many more. So this one would be the one where they collect cryptocurrency for the organizations, and I'm assuming give them fiat or whatever the case is, however the charities take them. But that would be the other charity that I came across. So just a quick recap, it was Commit Good, Swarm, Zcash, and it was also BitGive. Those are 4 nonprofit cryptocurrency companies that currently coexist within our world today. There are other few nonprofits, companies that are out there, but these would be the top ones at this time that have been founded and are registered and operate actually here within the U.S.
I like that. For whatever reason, that gives me peace of mind when companies are inside the U.S. I know that's like really dumb, like on a global standpoint, but it just makes me feel better.
Well, it gives you a little more peace of mind because they have to go through some extra step that other countries might not make them go through. Like, you have KYC here, and I believe also China, and I forgot the other country.
I bet China has KYC.
So, I mean, you have to go through those steps with some countries. But for example, if you go to Australia, maybe you don't have to provide any of that information. Or if you go to Zimbabwe.
I feel like Australia is pretty strict about stuff.
Australia is pretty
strict. It's like kind of annoying.
They have a lot of their most of the blockchain things and the cryptocurrency things that I've seen has to do more with their banks. So kind of, sort of, but I want to say more like, let me give you another example, like Zimbabwe or Russia. I feel like they wouldn't have as much, obviously, regulations as other countries. So possibly that's what gives you a little more peace of mind, just because you know that these companies are going to get spanked on the back of their booty by the SEC if they come for you.
As opposed to the front of their booty, just in case anyone is wondering. I had to, I'm sorry.
Anyways, so...
I had no choice.
Yeah, that's something that I had brought up. And I think the only other thing that we had brought up was the Bitcoin Cash with our friend here, billionaire entrepreneur Calvin Ayre. Or Air, whatever you want to call him, probably Air. But yes, he does has like an online gambling industry. It's 24/7. It's global, and he had mentioned that the original
24/7 gambling,
Cash,
just what we need.
He had mentioned that the original Bitcoin Cash, maybe he's part of the
Satoshi Vision.
not the Satoshi Vision, but there's been a lot of gambling sites that have been going up. And I think if you go on his website, you can actually like look into cryptocurrency on there. Yes, he has a Bitcoin button. If you go to his website, like type in his name.com, he has a button that says Bitcoin.
Wow, that's so pretentious. I want a website that's just my name. That's pretentious.
He has a and then
What's
he has
his
like
name?
a column.
Calvin Ayer.
He has a column, and you can go to his column, and it'll tell you stuff about Bitcoin. That's actually kind of cool.
All right, we're gonna pull this up for you guys so you can see this as well.
That's actually
Oh
kind of
God,
cool.
excuse me.
Yeah, and he has like news about business, poker, casino, sports, conferences, Bitcoin, directory, videos, and ventures. Cool. Really cool. So it looks like this is kind of like a news site that he has.
Susan O'Leary. I wonder if that's she's related to Kevin O'Leary. Shark Tank.
Shark Tank.
It's like one of my
maybe.
favorite shows. It's one of my favorite shows.
Let's Google
I'm a fantastic negotiator when it comes to business.
Why? Because watch Shark Tank.
I sure do. Like, I know how to propose things to people, and like, it's great. Like, I feel so good. Everyone gets a fair deal, you know what I mean? But you gotta, you gotta come with the facts. You gotta say things in a way that is a real thing.
Well, hey. There's actually a lot of Susan O'Learys. There's a Dr. Susan O'Leary.
Interesting. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, just in case you were wondering, the ticker that you see below us whenever we switch to the view of like websites and stuff, that is live. It does update live, and so anytime you see it with a green kind of tint or a red kind of tint flashing, is the price going up or down. I can see across the bottom of the screen now, XRP, 35 cents now. It's up 17.9%. Let's go.
I'll be hoorahing when XRP is worth 60, at least.
60 cents?
Yes, at least. I'll be hoorahing.
I will be getting back to... No, I'll be making money at that point.
I'll be, yes.
Yeah,
yes, I'll be hoorahing.
I'll be making money at that point. But
Tether went down a cent, it looks like.
Pish
Litecoin, $30. My goodness. Bitcoin SV 79.
Litecoin used to be worth so much
Cardano,
money. Oh my gosh.
Tron, come on. Monero, wow, Monero's down. Oh man, I haven't seen this. Binance coin, $5. I remember when it was $12.
Mm-hmm. I remember when it was like 16 at one point.
26.
That makes me so sad. I bought IOTA at like $2.
Really?
I bought it. I don't have any anymore. Like, I got rid of it a long time ago. But I had IOTA like from $2 to like $2 and change, I think it was, and then I got out, and then it just poopied all the way down.
Yeah.
Stellar, like only 11 cents. That's what you get. I'm sorry, I have a thing against Chip McCaleb. Stellar's a great project for like banking the unbanked, and like I'm with that, but like the tactics that they use, I don't like it.
He's specifically referring to the founder getting parts of XRP, and then after getting those parts of XRP, selling it and buying Stellar at market price. So
I don't like it.
Yes, it's something that's a little,
market manipulating-ish.
So, I mean, he has the right to buy and sell.
He sure does, but...
So, because of the amount of the volume that Stellar has and everything in between, yes, it does make, a little imprint. Mm-hmm. It indents, so I understand your concern.
My only thing is, like, if you need another currency to help you peg your currency to that other currency, like, your currency isn't worth as much as you think it's worth. Which is why now they've lost their peg. Like, it used to be that XLM was worth basically exactly half of what XRP was worth.
Right.
That is not the case anymore, because we can see
it's not.
11 cents versus 35 cents. No longer half. When it was 30 cents and 15 cents, things were neck and neck still. But now, not so much.
Not so much. But that's kind of
wow, Binance coin.
Life,
oh my gosh. I
guess.
hold a little Binance coin. Only a little bit though, so like I can trade for cheaper on Binance. But wow, Binance coin. Not a bad hedge. Let's see what else is going on the bottom there. Ethereum. Wow, wasn't Ethereum like it dipped down to like $13 the other day for a couple seconds?
Did it? I didn't see that.
It was on.
I didn't hear that.
I don't know if it was on every exchange, but it dipped down to, so something crazy happened and like the charts just didn't make any sense. Like it just lit like straight line down, straight line back up from like 100 and some change all the way down to $13 and then right back up. So like anybody that had any type of buy order from like $100 all the way down to $13 got their buy order fulfilled, and then it went back up to the 86 or whatever it kind of settled at. So if your exchange allows you to put a buy order for stupid low, it makes sense to do that, just in case, so that way you can just buy in stupid low, and then the price is going to definitely bounce back up, regardless if it's a lot or just a little bit. If it does a dead cat bounce, which you can Google and see what that term means.
Dead cap bounce.
Dead cat. Like
dead cat. Oh, just kidding. Dead cat.
Okay, fine. I'll explain it. Let's say you have a dead cat and you drop it off of a building. It's not alive, right? We can agree that it's a dead cat.
Okay.
But when it hits the floor, it's not going to stay there. It's going to bounce a little bit.
Bounce, yeah.
So regardless if it's dead or not, regardless if the fundamentals are poor, whatever the actual bottom that it hits for whatever time period, it's going to bounce. And so that's where the phrase dead cat bounce comes from.
Interesting. All right. Don't know who came up with that one, but I'm assuming they dropped a dead cat from somewhere.
I hope not. I really hope not. But
or they watch a dead cat bounce.
That sounds like a good name for a band. Can we start a band?
Dead cat bounce.
That would be the best name for a band.
That sounds like one of those names that's off that site you showed me that has all those random names.
I don't even know if I can mention that on live stream.
That is so funny. But
yes, there does exist a website where if you are looking for a band name, one of my favorite comedians has a website for you where you can find a suitable band name for yourself. His theory is that you can take any three things that you see in a room and just put those together to make like the name of a band. So
green light albinos.
Yep. I don't know where you see albinos, but yep.
There's like a little picture frame of an albino over there in the corner. Do you see him? Tim's deceased. But anyways, guys, that looks like it wraps up our news for today.
I wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready. That looks like it wraps up our news for today for the most part. We'll keep, looking at these intrinsic value of these charts. Stay tuned for a fundamental analysis I will be doing shortly. I'll be releasing sometime this week. My co-host and I will be talking about the coins that will be dropping off on Coinbase. We're probably going to do them 3 at a time because they're releasing, I think it's 31 if I'm not mistaken.
Some ungodly number.
Yeah,
Coinbase
so
basically
it's
just opened the floodgates.
And it's funny because a lot of these coins, I'm pretty familiarized with a lot of them. There was one that caught my attention. I think it's Eternity, I believe it's pronounced. It's funny because I was going to go... they were in London when I was in London, and I picked...
Was that one of the ones?
I actually picked to go to something else instead of going to that workshop. And I'm just like, man, I was like, I wonder what I would learn if I went to that workshop, because...
Or who you would have schmoozed with, and, maybe...
I don't know, but, you always gotta go to more workshop. But I wasn't going to catch that one, unfortunately. It was either one or the other. I had a kind of like an interview set up, so I couldn't catch that one. I had to go do something else. But it's okay. And if you don't know what interview I'm talking about the interview I had with Zero Carbon. It is on our channel. Check it out if you haven't done so already. It's a really cool project. I don't think they have held their ICO as of yet. They were supposed to be pushing it off. Yes, they were supposed to be pushing it off. They had started it and they pushed it off to a later date. But if you guys haven't checked out the interview, it's really cool. It's a really cool company. I would definitely recommend for you guys to look into them. They really understand the value behind coins and utilities and the way that they're actually infrastructuring their coins. If you care about the environment, if you care about, what you're investing into, I would say research them. If you like what they got, definitely check them out. But yeah, that's all we got for today, you
we
guys.
should reach back out to them and see how everything's going.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm sure I can probably contact their CEO. I have his email, so I'll probably reach out to him sometime.
Girl, you fancy.
See how they're doing. I was talking to him the other day, but we'll definitely, reach back out to him, see how everything's going. But again, check out Zero Carbon Project if you haven't done so yet. Really cool company. Video is somewhere in our playlist on our channel. Did an exclusive interview. So actually, really, I like to ask very, intriguing questions. So if you have a question about them, chances are I asked it. So check out our interview. It's on our channel. For right now, we will see you guys next time because we're going to head out of here and probably finish our drinks, have a little toast, and do a little research on those coins that we'll be bringing videos on you on.
Not it.
You are it. So, I kind of been looking into them, so it's okay. I
trust you.
Tim's here a little lazy, but it's okay. I'll give him a cheat sheet whenever we make that video for you guys.
A little lazy,
but it's okay. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in to this live stream of Bits and Tokens. We will catch you next time. My name's Annalise. And this is Tim. And this has been Drunk Crypto.
I spilled my drink.
See you guys.
Bye.
God.
I'm not drunk yet. Bye.
Sorry, guys.